Hey, what's up, y'all? I wanted to do a quick review of Own's new show called Somebody's Son. We're gonna review that today. So let me get it pulled up so you can see the cast. Let's see what's the best layout here. Uh, let's do this one. Okay, so the premise of this show is that there's these three different young men, and each one of the young men have four women each. So it's a total of, help me with math, 12. But each guy has four women that they'll get to choose. And I guess every show they'll eliminate one until they get down to the last two or whatever. So this is the first season. So this is, of course, new to everybody. The format is new. So we're kind of just learning as we go. So it looks like the way they're doing it is that each show they're gonna show us one guy. Okay, so I thought maybe each show they would pan to all three, but they're just showing us one guy. So the guy that we followed this first episode, his name is Joshua. Okay, so this is Joshua that you see here on the screen. Let me get my notes. Joshua is he 28 or 29? He is 28. Yeah, so Joshua is so Joshua is 28 and he's an NFL free agent. So he was on a team. He played on the Tennessee Titans for 6 years, which is really really good because in the NFL, the average career only lasts about 3 years. When you're talking about fringe level players. And I've never heard of him and I watch a lot of football. Not that I know every single person, but so I'm thinking maybe he's more of a lower tier player. But like I said, to stick around for 6 years, that is really good. Know when people think of professional athletes, their eyes light up and think they make a lot of money, but it just depends on the position you play and also how good you are, So, he probably has made maybe got like a $2 million contract. I'm gonna say maybe a 500,000, 600,000, something like that. But nonetheless, that's still great money. And it was interesting. So when he met the women, he did not disclose that he was a professional football player because of what I just said. 'Cause they would probably be like, "Oh, I got to try to get with him. I know he got money," type of thing. So he just told them he's an entrepreneur. But anyway, so he's 29. He's an NFL free agent, which means he does not have a team at the current moment. And he says that, he just hasn't been serious about women, and also that he's dated women who were materialistic. Okay, which, like I said, that kind of comes with it. The moment you tell women you play professional football, dollar signs show up. So I could see that. And, I'm not mad at him. He's 28. And in my humble opinion, I think men shouldn't really get serious till they're around 27, 28. So I think he's perfect. I just think that they're just not all together. They have a lot of growing to do mentally, in my opinion. So I don't think that men should really get married before the age of like 26, 27. Start getting serious, and by 30, they have it together somewhat, and I think they should get married around there. So I think has a perfect timing because they need time, and women too. Just in my opinion, I think you just kind of need time to date around, see what you like, you don't like. I think that's very important. Rather just hopping in a relationship, even though I kind of hopped in a relationship at 22, but I think I was a little more, advanced. I think women are more mature. We mature a little earlier, so I'm not mad at that. He's 28. He's ready to settle down. Uh, so he's gonna get four women to choose from, but the twist to this is their mothers, and the women don't know this. Their mothers are gonna be the ones picking the women, not the guy. Okay, so who he has here is actually his aunt Oma. I think is how you pronounce it. Um, I think they were saying something about I guess maybe they all came over from Nigeria, and maybe his mom was kinda going back and forth, so they don't have the closest relationship, and so it seems like his aunt is the one that who was his primary, caregiver, so much so that he calls her mom, so I thought that was really interesting. I know I would feel a way if my kids were calling somebody else mom, but I guess it just goes to show he doesn't have that relationship with his mother, so and I just love the relationship that they have. I definitely hope to have this type of relationship with my 3 sons as they get older, but, you could just tell he respects her and, that they just truly have a really cool bond, like, almost like a friendship between them 2, so, yeah, so this is Joshua, his aunt Alma, and then we meet the women, so let me show you guys the women here, and if y'all seen our other review for the other show we're doing called Never Ever Mets, this is the issue with OWN. I told you they're janky. It's like they have their website and they have all the shows that they produce. And I told y'all sometimes there's typos. They'll say somebody's 29 and they're 35. It's just same thing. So I click on this show and I'm like, oh, I'll bring this up so I can show y'all the cast because you should have cast photos, right? Whenever you have a show, you have a photo shoot with the cast so that you can bring their headshots up. No cast photos for this show. I'm just like, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know what's going on over there. So what I'm gonna have to do, y'all, is just this is the first episode. So I'm just gonna use the scrub bar and just kind of show y'all these people and push pause. I don't want to play the sounds. I don't want to get a copyright strike. So let's see how can we can do this. So the first woman we meet, I think her name is pronounced Tamaris. And I love their names. They all had really unique sounding names. So let me go to Tamaris and I'm gonna play it, but again, I'm not gonna play the sound because I don't want to get a strike. All right. So this is Tamaris. She is 29 and she is a journalist. And she's looking for somebody's son to build an empire with. So I'm just gonna play her little intro. So I liked her. I liked her style. Um, she seemed to have a good head on her shoulders. She's a journalist. I like that profession. And he seemed to really like her as well. So that is Tamaris. Let me see. Yeah, so far, just looking at her, I like the professionalism. I like how she carried herself. And I did again like her profession as a journalist. I thought that was pretty cool. The next person they introduced us to is Lexi. So let's go see her. All right. So this is Miss Lexi. So Lexi is 30. So she's 2 years older than him. She's a marketing manager and she's looking for somebody to co parent. So as you can see, Lexi has 2 little girls. Okay. So very beautiful. But of course, the 2 little girls, I definitely think is going to play into the whole thing. 'Cause you're talking about a 28-year-old guy, that's just kind of learning to be in a monogamous relationship. And then all of a sudden he would be thrown into a situation where he's a dad to not one, but 2 small children. So I don't know how that will play. And then also the other thing that was weird is she said she's been engaged twice. So I was like, that's a big red flag. So I'm not sure if it's her, if she's the issue, if the guy she's picking is an issue. But yeah, so she kind of has two marks against her already. So yeah, we'll see a little more about Lexi. The next girl we meet is Shambril, and I loved her name as well. Uh, Yep. Okay, so here's Shambril. She is 32, a mortgage broker looking for somebody's son who values communication. So right off the bat, just hate the outfit. And, I gotta and very beautiful as well. I did have to remember that they don't know that they're meeting his mom. They don't know his mom is in the house. But yet and still, even if this was just for I'm trying to do it so y'all can see it. Even if this was just to meet him, I just thought it was a bit much. They're not showing the shorts. I want y'all to see. Look at it. I just thought that was kind of tacky. But for the first date, you want to be classy, you want to show a little something. But you don't want to go all in on the first date. I just thought that was like, girl, you didn't have nothing else? Like, what is that? It doesn't even look comfortable. And mama saying something about it here. And the cameramen, they wrong for showing it. They didn't have to show that scene that long. And then the next person is Martha. So let's meet Miss Martha. All right. So this is Martha, and she actually is from Nigeria. So I thought, she probably has a leg up on the other girls. So she's 26. So I think she's the only one that's younger than him. Very beautiful as well. And she is a nurse. So the same as his aunt. So I thought check mark there. She's from Nigeria, check mark there. She understands the culture, terminology, religion, things like that. So I figured she would probably have a leg up. Um, but the first thing, once all the women were in there, the first thing I did notice about Martha is that she was very arrogant. All the things I just said, pretty much she almost felt like, "Yeah, I had this in the bag because 'cause I'm Nigerian, so I know they're gonna like me," and she wore that. I think it's a very different from being confident than being arrogant, and, I could feel it on from the screen. Let me pause it. So, I mean, I could feel that from the screen, and I think the other women felt it too, because they said it too. They were like, "Dang, she just kinda came in here." She wasn't warm to the other ladies, like, "Hey, how y'all doing?" She just sat down, was just talking to him, and just kinda had like this elitist attitude, and I think that everybody could feel. So I didn't know how that would play for her. So anyway, all the women come in, and then they, surprise them and have the mama come out. And, this was funny because as soon as the mom came out, you know who was horrified? Was Shambril, the one with the short shorts, the outfit. She was like, "Oh my god, I'm done." She's voting me off like, "I already know it." And so that was pretty funny, but like I said, I know they didn't know she was gonna be there, so I'm sure their attire would have been a little bit different, but even still, I thought what she had on was a bit much. So then the next thing that they did was they sat around the table and they played this game of questions. So let me show you guys that. All right, let me see. And it's like you already would be nervous, the first time you meet your boyfriend's mom, you're going to be nervous anyway. Oh, let me see if I can show this. And not only that, but now you're having to do like do it competition style with 3 other women, so I can only imagine, like, how nerve-wracking it was. So, yeah, this is when they met the mom. Okay. And then next, they're gonna go and play the game. So let's see where they're sitting down here to play this game. And, yeah, so I could imagine just how nerve-wracking this was So you can see how they looking like, oh Lord. Yeah, so she's pulling these random questions out of this bowl, and then they have to each answer. Okay. And so the first question was, how will you handle disagreement? And then Shimbril here, we call her short shorts. So Shimbril, she says that she believes that any type of argument or disagreement you should try to solve it that night, like before you go to bed or whatever, that whole saying, which I know people say that, but come on, y'all. And so that's what she said. Joshua, poor thing, he took it literally, but he was like, yeah, I want to go to sleep. Like, I don't want to talk about arguments when I'm about to go to sleep. And she was like, yeah, I'm not saying it literally. I'm just saying throughout the day, we need to solve it before we go to bed. So then he tried to play it off like, oh yeah, yeah, I knew what you were saying. I'm like, no, you didn't. But the mom had her back, and the mom was like, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. So that kind of took him aback a little bit. And in his confessional, he was like, dang, I thought mom would have had my back. So I was like, okay. So that was the first question. And the second was, how often do you need physical intimacy? Martha, which is the one that's from Nigeria, I thought she did a little too much. When you're meeting your boyfriend's mother, there is a balance between, being honest, but you don't want to be too honest. You see what I'm saying? There's a dance there. Like, you want to be transparent, you want to say things, but you don't want to do too much. Whatever y'all got going, whatever you have going between her son and yourself, right? You don't want to be too explicit and say too much. And Martha kind of did too much. She was like, "Oh, every day, all the time," and the mama clocked it too. She was like, "Okay." Lexi says she likes to so Lexi is the one with the two children. She likes to let the man initiate. Um, Tamaris, the one that's the journalist, she said anybody can initiate. So I like that answer. Then Shambril, short, she also said, you really shouldn't be keeping count. And so I like those two answers. And Joshua did too. He said the same thing. Like, it really doesn't matter who's initiating, as long as we're into each other, it should be a balance. And then the last question was, how do you show your romantic side? Lexi, the one with the two kids, she says she likes writing letters and notes, making like heart shaped pancakes. And so she goes into that whole spiel. So I thought that was cool. I really like Lexi. Um, I didn't know how I felt about this, but she brought in the kids, and she was like, yeah, because, I'm a mom. And so I like doing stuff like that. And kids. So I don't know. I would have kind of just not that she should be ashamed of her kids or anything, but I thought she should have just answered the question and not kind of bring that back into the forefront. Um, and then Martha, again, the woman that's from Nigeria. And again, to me, I don't know if y'all seen Coming to America, and you know how she was like, whatever you like. She was trying to play up on that role. So again, the question was, how do you show your romantic side? She's like, oh, I just like to cater to my man, whatever he want, whatever he need. Da, da, da. And again, it was just given that you're just trying to say what you think he'll like. And again, the mom clocked it, and she said she wasn't impressed by what Martha was saying. Um, so that was pretty much the show. That's what they showed us so far. And then the last part was the mama or the aunt, she got to vote one of the women off. And so I don't know who you guys think that she voted off. I really didn't know. It could have went either way. I thought Tamiris was safe, the journalist. I feel like she was safe. Um Shambril, I thought Shambril might go because of what she was wearing, and she was the one that she was a little forward and when she was answering the questions. She was very matter of fact, so I didn't know how that would play for her. Lexi, of course, I loved Lexi. I loved her demeanor. She was very calm, very sweet. But again, I just didn't know about the kids. And the mom brought that up too. She was like, oh, I don't know about that. And then Martha, I just was not feeling Martha at all. She just, like I said, the arrogance was just exuding from her, and she just knew she had it all figured out. I didn't feel like she was being authentic. I think that yes, you should want to do things for your boyfriend or whatever and cater to him, but you also have to be authentic. Like, what are some of the things you like? What do you like to do? And just be truthful. Don't just say, "Oh yeah, whatever you want, I'll do that." So I wasn't feeling her, but I didn't think she was gonna go home. I thought her being from Nigeria, she would get a second chance. So that was my opinion on all four. So the mom decided to, let me see if I can show you guys here who she decided to send home. Yeah, so Lexi got through, which I was surprised. And I think it's coming up. I think she was surprised too. But I like Lexi's energy. She was like, "Yeah, I got 2 kids. I'm not gonna be ashamed of that. Imma let everybody know, and, I still think that I'm a great woman." But, yeah, Martha got sent home, so I was very surprised by that, and mama just wasn't having it, you know? She seen right through it. So I was like, "Okay, she might really do well in this competition in helping her son." Because sometimes, and I'm sure we're gonna see this, what the mom wants is not necessarily what the son wants. Because the son, of course, is gonna be looking at the appearance of it all. And while I'm sure the moms are gonna be looking more for the character. But I agree with her on this. I just thought Martha was doing way too much in this show. So it's a really good show. I really like it. I think I'm a great reader of people, and so I hope that my sons will allow me to have some input, when it's their time as well. So I'm definitely going to tell them the truth. Um, I for my sons, I really want somebody that's classy, and presents it as classy. You got to know like what to wear in the right occasion. I want them to be with a woman that's very sweet, very caring. So those are some of the things that I'm gonna look for. But yeah, so that was episode 1, and I'm guessing episode 2 and 3 we're gonna meet the other 2 gentlemen and follow the same thing. So I'll come back next week and we'll review episode 2. All right. So with that, I will see you guys in a little bit.